Welcome back, episode 2, God Bless Plug podcast. I'm your host, Justin. I'm here with Jay Wall once again.
What's
Ready
going
to come
on?
at you, ready to come at you with a jam-packed episode. We got a lot to talk about. Obviously, draft just went down. We got Darnold Gate. We got some awards to give out. What are you excited to talk about today, man?
And I think Darnold Gate. I mean, that's just like unexpected league moment. I think it's something we'll look back on. Uh, kind of showed the league what Teo's about,
Yep.
and just another iteration of Fitz being an idiot, type of thing. So I think there's a lot to talk about there, and that's what I'd love to get into. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just open up with Darnold Gate. I think for me the biggest takeaway from Darnold Gate is how simply inconsequential it is. Like Sam Darnold will have like fantasy relevance for this year, I guess, because it's a super flex league.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, he's like a bottom like 6 quarterback.
I
Like
mean, I would argue that there's some upside there. I mean, he's a highly touted prospect that didn't work out in the draft, but going to a Kevin O'Connell offense, I see
yeah,
some. He could definitely finish in the top 20, and I would not.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised
Yeah,
if he
especially with
finished top
Justin
20. But
Jefferson
anyway,
and Jordan Addison. But yes, I agree generally. Inconsequential. I think the thing that really stuck out to me was Fitz just not understanding why anyone would vote against him. Um,
yeah. I mean, Fitz being a moron. Breaking news. We covered this last week. It's just a fact of life.
yeah,
But um, yeah, so I assume you and I have the same take on this, which is obviously the trade goes through. I mean,
yeah,
Teo's a moron. Like the news had broken an hour prior or something. It's definitely on him to do his research there.
yep,
But one thing I'd like to discuss is the fact that you, in the aftermath of Darnold Gate, you were saying, all right, that's fine. This trade goes through. In the future, if you guys accidentally accept the trade, this is the same thing as that and I will push through those trades. So if I just go around the league spamming fucking Luke McCaffrey for your RB1 and you accidentally accept it under your rules, that cannot be overturned. I would love to hear
yeah.
your
So I
explanation for why those two are the same thing.
no, so I don't think they're the same thing, but what I actually did afterwards was issue an executive order that basically just gave myself more power. Um, I get
Mm,
to decide, add add my own, however I feel if a trade has been an accident or if it's been a Darnold Gate esque situation. I think what would be hard
yeah.
is players could obviously just claim that this has happened, but we will do a league review, a league investigation, and that will be me,
Yep.
and I will come to my own conclusion. And I think that's the best way to go about it. Obviously, you can't really vote on it because people are going to have interests, and I think I just trust myself to not have that interest as the commissioner. But yeah, I think you could see how just the idea that this trade goes through, I now claim it was like if Teo had said no, it was an
I mean,
accident.
yeah,
I
you
didn't
could
mean
say
to.
it's an
Yeah.
accident, but like anyone with two eyes, like I think obviously
Uh,
you made the right decision by giving yourself this power. Like this is not the same thing as Tyreek Hill for fucking
yes. Yes.
Lad McConkey, bro.
Yes.
Like, let's be real.
Yeah. And I think
Um,
it'll be
and
something
when
that we walk we take that bridge when we get there. But in the meantime, yeah, just gave myself more power, so I'm feeling good about that.
yeah, I'm satisfied with that decision. Anyways, all right, that's Darnold Gate. Trade went through. Teo, you're a moron. I'm sure we'll talk about you later.
Yep.
But for now, I think let's talk about the best drafts.
You want to talk about
Who do
best
you think
drafts?
had some of the best drafts? Who I think had some of the best drafts? I'm sure Teo will not be coming up here.
Yep. No, probably not.
Um, we're gonna keep ourselves out of it. I love my draft personally. I'm not gonna get into it now, but god damn, I love my squad. I feel like I nailed almost every fucking pick. I got young talent, I got old talent, I got plug and play vets, I got up and coming risers. But anyway, I'm getting carried away. Any drafts you really like, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple that I would point out. The first one
Mm-hmm.
is Spoto. I think he built a team that is gonna just generate value from the years to come. He took advantage of people
Yeah.
not taking quarterbacks and probably undervaluing the quarterback position, and now he's got a roster with Will Levis, Deshaun Watson, Drake May, Kyler Murray, um, as well as a lot of other young talent like Malik Neighbors, like Rome Dunze, like JSN. Um, I don't think this is a roster that's looking to compete now, but he kind of made that decision very early in the draft and said, I'm going to play for a couple of years down the road. I think that's just a savvy veteran move. Um,
Yeah,
there's there's a lot of teams that don't have quarterbacks. Would what do you think of his draft?
I I feel this exact same way about Spoto's draft. I think in that mid round range, he jumped on those QBs that people were they were kind of scared to take him. He took a couple, like he took Watson and he took Levis and May in that mid round range, um, and those are quarterbacks that definitely people have questions about, but they're all people that could easily have tons and tons of value, like you were saying, and he'll be able to trade them away for real good pieces if things fall the right way. And I totally agree. I do like how he constructed the rest of his roster, like you said, very young. Um,
Yeah,
and
I
I
mean,
think
I
if he
think
makes one or two good trades with those QBs, he's going to have one of the best teams in the league,
yeah, I
definitely.
agree. I think the only thing I see here is just the running back position. Like he basically just said it doesn't matter, which might make
Yeah, he
sense
punted
honestly.
it.
He's gonna get guys through the rookie drafts that are gonna be valuable now. Um, but I just don't see a lot of guys that could really pan out even.
Hmm.
Like he took Vaki, who's on the Lions, and I feel like that's just a hail mary. There was a lot of other running back options, like the Devin Singletary, Rico Dowdle picks. I maybe wouldn't have done given his team state. Like would have gone for a guy like Vidal or um, Charbonnet or someone like that that just has more upside down the road, kind of aligns with his team. So yeah,
Yeah. Great draft, Mike. If you're listening, love what you did with the squad. Me and Jake both in agreement there. I'm gonna bring up another draft, another guy's draft. Not because I necessarily think it's one of the best drafts, but kind of more just because I can't tell how I think about it. I'm curious your thoughts on it, Jake. That's gonna be Jacob Worthington out of
yep.
Frisco, Texas. What do you think of Fancy 214's draft?
Ah man, um, I mean generally I like it. I think uh, I can't tell if he's trying to win now or if he's trying to win down the road. There's some picks in here that I don't love. Obviously, anytime you get Tyreek Hill, you feel pretty good about that. Follows it up with a Travis Etienne, who I don't love. Um, I would say my favorite pick of his draft, besides obviously Mahomes, is Brian Thomas. I think that guy's going to be a stud and someone I really, really, really wanted to have on my roster. So, yeah, what do you think of him?
Yeah, this team, it kind of like you were saying, I feel like it lacks identity.
Yeah,
It's one round I'm going Reek, which obviously is one of the best win now players in the league.
yeah,
Um, and then a couple rounds later, I'm going Brian Thomas, who could be a great pick, like you're saying, but doesn't necessarily align with that timeline.
yeah,
There's a couple picks I love. I was very high on Pacheco. I would have
yeah,
loved to have him on my team, but I was pretty low on ETN. It's just every round.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
I
the
think it's up
pick.
and
I hate the
down.
pick. I love the pick. I hate the
Um,
pick.
Trey Benson's
Um,
interesting. I think it'll be just there's you got a workhorse there in Arizona, but he's old, and James Conner. So it's another one like that's is his timeline a couple years down the road? Is he just kind of playing both? Hate the Troy Franklin pick. He's just been bad. But yeah, and then I feel like the bench is a bunch of guys that are little washed up. Like if you just go through here, you got like Curtis Samuel, J.K. Dobbins, Rondell Moore, Jonnu Smith, Tyler Conklin.
yeah,
Like just guys that
yeah,
I don't see a lot of upside on his bench. I don't, and I think um, that could come back to bite him. But we'll see.
yeah. And I'm gonna bring up one more team in this best draft section. When I say win now, I'm assuming your mind goes to Q.
Yep,
But I'm
yep.
going to give you a different dark horse contender for
I
win
think
now,
I might know
Jake.
that. Are we
And that's
going?
your
Yep,
friend from college, Mr.
Sean
Sean
Center.
Center.
Yep, yep, yep.
Uh, I'm looking at his. I mean, he's got legit talent at every starting
Yeah, he
position.
does.
It's gonna be tough to go head to head with him on a weekly basis, man.
I've got a trivia question here for you.
Yeah.
How old is Jonathan Taylor?
Ooh. I'm gonna go 26.
You're gonna go 26. He
Yeah.
is 25 years old. I found that surprising.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think you probably
I mean,
went
that's younger
26
than I
thinking
thought.
yeah, I was probably on the earlier side. So
I went 26 thinking like, oh, you think he's 29, but I'm gonna go 26.
exactly.
I mean, it's just running backs are just 26, 25 is the new 28, 29 when we're talking that
Yeah,
position, man.
yeah,
So, but yeah. Anyway, I do like his team honestly. Like he sprinkled in enough young talent, like you're saying, Jonathan Taylor, sneaky young Jamar, Nico Collins. That could be a
yeah,
great wide
yeah.
receiver duo for years to come.
DK's not, DK's not
He's not
overly old.
old.
26.
Like I feel like he could bridge the gap better than a team like Q, where Q just took like all my uncle's favorite players.
Yeah,
Can't really see him doing well outside of the first 2 years, honestly. So yeah, I don't like Q's draft. I like Mr. Sean Center's a lot better.
yeah. I
Speaking
definitely.
of drafts, we don't like.
Well, hold on. There's one more I want to call
Okay,
out as a
okay,
really
okay.
good draft,
Yeah,
and
you
you
got
brought
any
this up a
teams?
bit,
Yeah,
but man,
yeah.
I love your starting lineup. I just
Wow,
had to
thank
say
you,
that.
dude.
I don't love what you did with the bench, but I guess we'll
Okay,
see
that's
what comes.
fair.
I don't hate it either, but man, that starting lineup looks real good. I feel like drafting out of those early spots, you just had value. You just had good players, and especially if some things go your way, Tony Pollard, Christian Watson, kind of position battle. You're already trending the right way with the Jalen Warren injury in Pittsburgh. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think Devon A. Chain, same thing. Like, I think this team has a lot of potential to do really well. Um,
Yeah, I guess I'll just talk through my draft a bit. Early I was definitely thinking highest value, not necessarily best player available, but highest value available. Um, and I know you touched on not liking my bench. I was kind of thinking with those early bench spots, I was kind of leaning towards a plug and play type of guy
mm-hmm,
over uh, uh, like a high upside younger guy, just
mm-hmm,
because I feel like I do have a lot of question marks in the starting lineup
yeah,
as it is in terms of my draft order. Like I don't think my starting lineup in terms of my rounds drafted will be my starting lineup come playoff time, which I expect to be there.
mm-hmm,
Uh, like I feel like D Hop and Heem Mo could definitely get some burn this year.
yeah, for sure.
Um, so I don't know. I don't hate my bench. I don't love my bench at all, but
Yeah,
I appreciate the call out. I did like my draft a lot.
yeah,
Um, but anyway, moving on to worst drafts. Um, I think there's three contenders to me that just stick
yeah.
out head and shoulders
I
above all
think I think
else.
there's one that really sticks out, but let's get there in a little bit. Do you want to
Yeah.
introduce your first?
I mean, we touched on Q, so I don't want to go into him too deep. But I mean, listen. We talked about Fancy not having an identity. Q found his
Yeah, he found
identity.
an
It's
identity.
just,
Just
it's the wrong identity.
aged and past their prime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we really don't got to go into it too much more. I would just like to apologize. Week one of the God Bless Plug podcast, I was talking about how I thought Q was the fantasy goat.
You
Uh,
don't think that way anymore?
I'm rarely, I'm rarely wrong, Jake. I'm rarely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of those
Yeah,
times.
this is definitely one of those times.
Um,
I think Q's team is. Let me throw a soundbite in here.
yeah, Stephen A. He said it better than I could, man. That team is straight garbage, man. Garbage.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, on to my next trash draft. He tried to salvage it. He was trying to make moves as he always does.
Oh, okay.
But
This is where you're going with this one. Okay, interesting.
the emus, I don't like the emus, bro. Like no matter what team he had, I'd say I hated them. I'm gonna
Yep.
just be real. I
Yep.
would say I hate them.
Yeah.
But this team I don't like, bro. He doesn't have quarterbacks and he doesn't have running backs. And he went
Ah.
fourth round on Kyle Pitts. That's a
Yeah.
bad like he has receivers. Sure, he went receiver, receiver, receiver. He has receivers covered. And receivers, probably most important position. He doesn't have quarterbacks, he doesn't have running backs, and his tight end is Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the emus?
I think getting Sam Darnold is huge. I really like getting a
Yeah,
starting quarterback for this team was massive. So maybe we
that is
undersold
true.
that to you know like where he got him too. He picked Spencer Rattler before he picked a starting NFL quarterback. That's pretty big.
That is
I
true.
think that saves the team. Jalen Warren's already out for a couple weeks, I think. Um, maybe not. but he's already hurt. Yeah, Kyle Pitts, high variance pick. Who knows what's going to go on there? Jameson Williams, same thing. Chase Brown, same thing. Justin Fields is a backup quarterback. I don't love this team. I I don't think I would put it as low as the team I'm going to say next, but um, yeah, maybe it is. The team I was going to bring up is actually K Dillon's team. I
Mm.
just think his first couple picks were really bad. I think taking Caleb Williams, uh, he could be really good. I don't think it's going to be this year or probably next year either. Um, and I don't think he's worth the 10th pick in the draft. You follow that up with
Yeah.
Justin Herbert. I don't see why you do that over some of the guys that were there on the board, some of the really strong position players. But, he did shore up those spots. So it is what it is. Um, but then he's got just a lot of question marks.
Yeah, I'm looking at this team now. I hadn't given this team too much thought, honestly. I can't say I've looked at it in its entirety. I hate it. I really do hate it. He went an unproven rookie, obviously a highly touted prospect as his number one QB,
Yeah,
and then his number two QB, he went new offense, lost all my skill position players.
got to
My
run the ball
offensive
down their throat.
coordinator,
Yeah,
yeah, wants to run the ball down their throat. That's his round two pick. Round three pick, Ayuk is another question mark. Where's he going to be?
yeah.
Is he going to be happy? Who's his QB going to be? Round four is a big question mark. Will he ever play football again? Um, and then obviously he rounds that out with high
Wait, will
upside,
will
whatever
Saquon
young
Barkley ever
players who
will
are
Saquon
obviously
Barkley
question
ever
mark.
play football again? Is that the question?
Yeah, he'll play a couple games and then he's gonna break his leg and go off
Yeah,
into the
no,
sunset.
I could
Like who
agree.
knows,
I
bro?
could agree. And then you got
Um,
Diggs in the seventh round, and that's I think a big question mark too. So,
yeah, I mean, listen, Diggs on some teams makes sense. On Q's team, sure, Diggs in the seventh round. On this team, I would
well,
say,
I just as far as players that could really disappoint, I think Diggs has to be up there. I mean,
yeah,
talent
and
definitely started to fade in
especially,
Buffalo. He's what
yeah,
30? He's 30. Could be the
yeah,
third receiver. Probably won't be the third receiver, but could be the third option in
yeah,
Houston. It's a question mark.
yeah. As far as teams go, I would think K Dillon's might be the least fit for a guy like Diggs. I feel like
Yeah,
he sh-
yeah,
after those
exactly.
first three rounds, he should have just pumped up the variance and
Yeah,
just gone as crazy as he could.
yeah, I agree.
Um, Taking a quick look at the bench, and
I
the
don't see
names
a
I'm
yeah,
seeing are proven mids.
exactly. A
Guys,
lot of
guys
proven
like
mids.
Gabe Davis,
Brandon
Zach
Cooks,
Moss, Brandon. Yeah. Ooh, yeah,
KJ
we
Osborne,
might need
Jelani
to
Woods.
yeah we might need to start finding replacements early when it comes to this team, man.
Yeah, I don't like what's going on here. Um, Hopefully
Yeah,
he can
and
salvage it a little bit, but don't love it.
yeah, I would love to have him in the league, but he's been very outspoken in his willingness to exit if
Yeah,
his team goes downhill. So
yeah.
hopefully that
So
doesn't
I
happen.
think this is another team that is.
Yeah, Stephen A. Man, he's waxing poetic.
Yeah.
And speaking of garbage, there's one team that if you didn't mention it, it would only be because you were blind and didn't see the team. Um, I mean, I don't even have to say it, but I mean, Teo couldn't have drafted a worse team if he tried, I would say.
Yeah,
Um,
man. I mean, I think there was a mix of things going on. I think he was really impatient in the early rounds of the draft. Moved up for
mhm.
Devonta Smith and paid an unholy amount, um, and then just continued to move up. Um, I guess we'll see how it works out, but man, this roster is rough. It's rough. It's not really. I don't know when it's set up to win. Uh, Although the starting lineup, if it had a quarterback in the QB and the superflex, could do some damage, but doesn't.
I mean, look, his core four, let's call him his core four: Brees, Kyron, Amon Ra, and Devonta Smith. Like
Yeah,
young, good players.
yeah,
But then what? You know? And
Yeah.
listen, Baker Mayfield is the one starting QB on his roster. Sure, Baker Mayfield. I just want to mention I was very close to moving up and taking Baker Mayfield at that spot. Um, just taking a look
Wait,
at
what was that, Justin?
who I was very close to moving up.
We don't care.
I was just gonna say, had he not got Baker, that QB would have been like fucking Bo Nix or
Yeah.
Stafford or something. His
Yeah.
team could I think Baker kind of was clutch for him in that spot. I don't know
Yeah.
why he was considering moving down there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, outside of that core four, I see very, very, very little that I like on this team.
Yeah.
Horrible job, Teo. Horrible, horrible job.
Yeah. I mean, I think just all around, he didn't really think through what he was doing in the draft, and it came back to bite him. So
Yeah.
definitely, this team is. I messed up the soundbite, but this team is.
Yeah.
But
Garbage certified, Stephen
yeah,
A.
that's a garbage certified team.
All right. Moving on. Let's just jump to our awards that we teased in the first episode of the podcast.
The draft-based award.
I mean, I think we already know where this one's going, but the inaugural Johnny Sins Blew Their Load award. There's no competition, man. It's going to fucking Ryan Murphy out of Cranston, Rhode Island.
Ryan
That's QOSP, bro.
It's simple as that.
No explanation needed. I feel like Sean Center gets the silver medal in this category.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, he came out. It seemed like it was his plan. In retrospect, it seems like it wasn't his plan. I think he was picking like under the table at work or something, bussing tables and shit. But yeah, his team has a median age of 33. I just did the math. And yeah, it's not good, dude.
It's not
good. You blew your load Johnny Sins style. So not a great job by you.
Yeah. Do you want to go to
moving on? Yeah, the Kevin Durant I Can't Win With These Cats award. So in its inception, I kind of thought about this award as, drafting too much for the future. I wasn't thinking like who has the most trash team. I was thinking like who has a really young team, like, oh, I'm gonna win in 6 years. Like that's my style. And does any team like scream out to you like that?
I think it's got to be Spoto. I don't disagree with the draft, but like he's the only one where it's pretty clear that I'm not going to win now, and I am trying to win in the future. I think there's other teams where it's clear I'm not going to win now, but it's not clear that they're trying to win in the future.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so I think that's my pick. Do you have a different one?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just looking quickly at the draft. I don't have everyone's team memorized, obviously, but I do kind of agree with the what you've laid out. Like, in terms of how we were conceiving the award, I think it does have to go to Spoto. He went young at every opportunity that he could, and then doubled down on I'm trying to win in the future when he went quarterback in the mid round. So I would have to agree, Spoto. The Kevin Durant I Cannot Win With These Cats award has to go to you. So we've touched on most of the teams. Only a few teams we haven't touched on. I would say the only teams is D-Croft, Nico, and Golden are the only teams we haven't touched on.
Yeah, you want to do a quick?
You want to just give me? Yeah, you want to give me 30 seconds on Golden Glover 45?
I can really sum up all these teams in 1 to 2 words, and that would be mediocre.
Sure. Okay.
I just see that these teams are mixed. They're a hybrid of players with some upside and guys that are old and good. I mean, D. Croft, what's he got at the receiver here? He's got Cooper Kupp, Calvin Ridley, Hollywood Brown, Jerry Jeudy on the bench. Those guys could all be out of the league in 3 years.
Yep.
And he's got T. Higgins to add on to that, so who knows how good that guy is.
I kept sending a picture of 2 grandparents with a baby for D. Croft's receiver core. I don't know if anyone got it, but he has Marvin Harrison and a bunch of 30-year-olds.
Yep. Then I think if we go
I don't like the receiving
to Golden's team, I love, Lamar, Jameer, I like Drake London, I like Xavier Worthy. Then he's got Travis Kelce, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Chris Godwin, Cortland Sutton, Quentin Johnson, like just a bunch of mediocre players to maybe even bad players. Yeah, I mean, like I don't think this is a terrible team, but Also, you got Bryce Young at the flex with Bo Nick. I mean, maybe. What do you think?
Golden.
Yeah, Golden.
Um, I mean, I don't hate. I think as far as these three teams we're talking about go, I think I like it the most probably.
Mm.
Um, I feel like he definitely has some good upside at the receiver position and at the run. Like Jameer Gibbs, Drake London, Xavier Worthy. Like
Yeah, there's
who
definitely
knows,
upside on
man?
that
Like
team.
that could a lot of upside. Lamar will obviously be a god for years to come. I mean, Kelsey, I would don't really think fits with this team because I would say this is more of a win later type of roster construction. And Kelsey, I would think by the time his receivers are ready to win, I don't think Kelsey will really be in the picture. So maybe if he can offload Kelsey to a team that's looking to win, I'm looking at you, Q. I'm looking at you, Sean. Maybe he can kind of fix the gaps and turn this team into a real contender in a couple years. But I would say decent draft. I don't hate it at all.
Mm.
Just to touch on Penguins team a little bit, not a fan. Let's put it in 3 words. Not a fan. Any thoughts, Jake?
Honestly, I don't hate the position players here. I mean, they're solid. They're fine. Christian McCaffrey's cool. I think that the thing that sticks out to me is the super flex. Um, he's coming off an ACL tear. I don't think the team or the coaching staff has much belief in him. And you don't really have anyone except for Zach Wilson that you could play as a backup at that super flex, like another quarterback.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be really important to a team that's clearly trying to win now with the Jacobs and McCaffrey picks.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm not a fan of this team. I'm really not. I know if he didn't have a guiding light through this draft, similar to some other teams we talked about, I think that to me is what's separating the winners from the losers in this draft. Is maybe you didn't come in with the plan, but you let your early picks dictate the plan and kind of coast off that for the rest of the draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But anyways, it's been about 30 minutes. This has been episode
Hey, wait,
2
wait,
of
one
the
more,
God
one more,
Bless
one more.
Plug podcast.
Justin, can we get a 30-second summary of my team?
Oh, we didn't touch on your team at all. Let me take a look, dude.
Yeah.
Let me take a look. We didn't even talk about your team for 1 second.
Nope.
I'm scrolling. I mean, yeah, I like the team, man. I like the team. To me, I would say it looks like you're trying to win the 2027-2028 league season. I would say you're trending on the older side of young, but that's not really a bad thing to me. You do have some Bijan Robinson obviously going to be the one of the only stud running backs you could take in this draft. I would think him and Brees are pretty much the only two like young
Gibbs.
3-down backs that you're going to get for years to come.
Gibbs would be the only other one.
Yeah, Gibbs, sure. And I mean, you got a young, good roster. Kittle,
Kittle was weird.
Kittle's a weird one with this team. I know you were talking about how you drafted the tight end for the future. You kind of took some flyers on young tight ends, which I like. I tried to do that late in the draft personally. I think I should have done it a bit earlier. But yeah, I mean, I like the team. I like your skill position players. You paid attention to the QB position, which I think is an easy way to lose the draft.
Yeah. I think that's a big one.
You have young talent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just giving yourself QB versatility, I did okay. And then you're not going to be screwed, hopefully. So don't have to make any bad trades.
I like the team, man.
Hopefully you can scam something.
I like the team.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I guess that'll do it for everybody. I think main memo here is Teo's an idiot. The only other thing that I'd want to bring up is just how annoyed I am at everyone's inability to load up the Sleeper app and make a selection. I don't know what was going on, but it was seemingly impossible for that to happen.
I'll just say it went faster than I thought it would, bro. I thought we'd be drafting until week 3.
Nope. So I just like to say it. Yeah, Stephen A. said it better than I can. So I'm glad the draft is over. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, no, it was crazy for the draft to end. But yep, episode 2, God Bless Plug podcast. We'll be back after week 1 of matchups with recaps, stories around the league, rumor mill.
You don't think there'll be
And
another episode like pre-week 1 if there's any big moves or anything?
I mean, if there's big moves, we'll have to drop the emergency
Yeah,
pod just like
emergency
everyone
pod.
does.
Yep. Okay.
But yeah, barring any big transactions, I think post week 1 recap is next episode.
Yep. Yeah, sounds good, Justin. I'll see you next time.
All right, Jake. I'll see you next time, man.